It is so wild to me that even with all the new fame, money, television viewership, sold out arenas, increase in merch sales, all of this media attention that is now on the WNBA, the most that they have ever seen in years, there are still women within the WNBA who have so much to complain about.
Although whether it's jealousy, envy, resentment, it's all justifiable because there were people that were pounding the pavement and going through so much to help elevate the WNBA's profile long before Caitlin Clark ever came along, and yet were denied that level of recognition and that level of appreciation.
She's staying relevant by saying dumb things about the next popular women's basketball player, the most popular women's basketball player on the planet.
It was incredible how the specialists ruthlessly annihilated WNBA bullies. You may be wondering why these individuals are constantly pursuing a girl that has such amazing statistics. Bullies like Cheryl Swoops and Angel Reese, meanwhile, are just jealous of Caitlin because she's setting records, surprising the WNBA and the world, and succeeding. Amazing, huh? It's absurd to be envious of someone else's diligence. Thus, they decided to play dirty, create a commotion, and disparage Caitlin using ineffective strategies. They genuinely thought they would be able to get away with it, as though our professionals who never hold back when they speak wouldn't act as a mirror for them. Not at all. As all of this is going on, Caitlin is over here nonchalantly shattering records, creating history, and essentially giving them more excuses to have a jealous breakdown. I love the WNBA, but these women could not have screwed this Caitlin Clark situation anymore. This is the tea, then. Caitlin Clark was the target of some heavy shade from Cheryl Swoops, WNBA royalty, and the basketball community is still investigating the reason behind it. We are discussing a legendary individual whose name is essentially inscribed in the WNBA Hall of Fame guest book indefinitely. Thus, when Swoops talks, people pay attention. But you need to compete with players at your level to beat the record, not give Caitlin some accolades or at least some helpful advice. She went so far as to say that Caitlin is not necessarily dominating just because she is playing well. Okay, Cheryl, we get that, but no one asked for your take on Reality Check. Everyone is aware of Caitlin's ability to overpower anyone the moment she steps onto the court. She is proficient at throwing, defending, and pointing. To me, it seems reasonable that if you are going to break a record, you should do so in the same length of time that the player said. All right, Caitlin ought to have broken the record in 4 years if Kelsey Plum said it in that amount of time. By the way, Rachel Ann Marie wasn't present for the slander of Cheryl Swoops. During her podcast, Rachel expressed her disapproval of Swoops, saying it's strange that she can't even pronounce Caitlin's name because of her jealousy. Without holding back, Rachel bluntly called Swoops out for living in the past and declined to acknowledge that Caitlin's accomplishment is truly a major victory for the sport. Why you discredit a young player that is excelling is beyond me. There's money, TV audience, sold-out venues, and more merchandise sales in the WNBA. The league has a lot of grievances. Of course, Skip Bayless is present wherever there is smoke. He entered the fray and tweeted that Swoops' comments were a clear sign of insecurity. He even abandoned the connection between LeBron James and Michael Jordan, claiming it was just another example of an older celebrity failing to accept that a new generation was coming to power. Traditional Skip, huh? Jason Whitlock, who consistently provides more in-depth analysis, basically stated that Swoops was missing the mark. He believes Caitlin is more than simply a talented athlete. With impressive numbers, she possesses the marketability and swagger that the WNBA has been longing for. Whitlock went so far as to say that players like Swoops are unable to comprehend the current basketball trend, which emphasizes not just skill, but also the complete package, charm, style, and yes, social media appeal. And Caitlin has everything. Neither did Clay Travis of Outkick miss his shot. Whether you agree with him or not, Caitlin is clearly the best player in the league. He continued by saying that certain legends are just trying to maintain status quo and that Caitlin's ascent is precisely what the WNBA needs at this time. Not only does she dominate, but she truly does. She controls the ball, the thoughts of the other team, the thoughts of her own squad, the fans, and the entire domain of the arena. Oh, and don't think that Angel Reese isn't still relevant. Since the beginning, she has been Clark's worst critic, making disparaging remarks both on and off the court. Reese is obviously not buying into the Clark hype, as evidenced by her hand-waving taunts during games and her comments in interviews that Caitlin is overhyped. She's made it clear that she doesn't mind playing the bad guy, but then she breaks down in tears when others choose their favorite based just on the color of their skin. I take it to mean that she is discussing the media. She's attempting to convey that we want to undermine her. If that's not the case, then stop attempting to act like you're at ease playing this villain when it's obvious that you're not, Angel. Instead, try to express yourself more clearly. Additionally, experts claim that she is merely Caitlyn. She's jealous of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese's location. Skip expressed his opinion that Caitlyn's support is based on her skill as a player rather than her race, and he was all over that as well. It's not because she's white that Caitlin Clark is rising to the top of the WNBA, rather, it's because of her skill. She is influencing Larry Bird. Despite acknowledging Reese's skill, Stephen A. attempted to maintain objectivity by telling her to put this rivalry behind her before it affects her own career. Reese is too preoccupied with trying to bring Caitlyn down for him to realize that there is opportunity for both of them to succeed. Then, on the first try, Molly Karam adds a little shade of her own. Claiming that the bizarre media fixation on Clark is completely exaggerated, Molly says Caitlyn's NCAA achievements weren't all that impressive, and the real test will be in the WNBA, where the competition is much stronger. Again, ouch. Molly even referred to Caitlyn as smug and overconfident, which is kind of ironic given that Caitlyn is merely doing what celebrities do best, winning games and grabbing media attention. But Stephen A. Smith would have none of it. Being Stephen A., Molly was met with a firm nope in response from him, who also compared Caitlyn to Steph Curry in terms of her ability to alter the course of the game. It was widely accepted by Stephen A. that Clark was more than just a skilled player. She is transforming women's basketball with her playmaking, elegance, and range. To be honest, he is correct. At this point, it would be pointless to try to minimize what she's doing. Oh, that was it, Stephen A. Nobody anticipated that it would play or be successful. Simply put, we believe that the other participants in the W should also be given credit. Molly, really, Molly? I asked. Whoa, we pounced on you. In the interim, Caitlin Clark is out here instructing others on how to silently silence critics without uttering a word. Forget all the commotion, turmoil, and insane reactions individuals had to her ascent to the top. More than any podcast, tweet, or hot take ever could, her game is speaking for itself. Let's begin with her performances that broke records. For a rookie, Clark isn't just performing okay, she is shocking the WNBA with her stats. She didn't only leave an impression in her debut season. She was her team's main driver into the postseason. Furthermore, the squad in question hasn't been in the playoffs since 2016. When she arrives, everyone is talking about a team that nobody even knew had a chance. A turnaround like that doesn't just happen. Clark has rewritten the entire script in this way. And there's that little incident where she dropped back-to-back 40-point games and three-pointers, making her the youngest player in WNBA history. Yes, it's easy to drop 40 with a casual attitude. Every time she takes the court, 15,000 people crowd the arena because they don't want to miss whatever historic performance she's going to deliver next. It's like seeing a real-life video game character. Meanwhile, Caitlyn is experiencing legendary difficulties out here while everyone else is stuck on easy mode. Because she is something we have never seen before, she is the female version of Steph Curry. She is attempting three-pointers, jump shots, and step-back shots from the logo. I never imagined that would be what I saw. The best thing, though, she isn't reacting negatively to people on social media. The clapback is her game. She's always setting records and defying everyone who tries to disparage her or say she's overhyped. It is difficult to turn away, not even from the most vocal skeptics. They remain motionless and in disbelief as Clark emerges from the logo to make a three-pointer. And when the scoreboard shows the truth, believe me, those naysayers are quite silent. Let's now discuss the figures that are giving everyone a headache since they are unavoidable. Not only did Clark shatter a couple records, but she completely destroyed them. She became the youngest player to reach 600 points in a single season during her debut year. Give that some thought. The only player in WNBA history to accomplish those stats or higher is Caitlin Clark. Not only is her scoring average of 23.4 points per game great, but it's also historic. Never before has a rookie concluded a season with those stats. She was also throwing out 9.1 assists per game and leading above 500 records, which prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that she is more than just a one-trick pony. Like a basketball wizard, she's out here improving her entire squad and uplifting everyone around her. Naturally, Caitlin Clark, who recently guided the Indiana Fever to an above 500 record for the first time in 5 years, comes in last but certainly not least. She has scored 23.4 points per game over the past 12 games, which puts her in second place among scorers. Until recently, The WNBA record for the most consecutive games under 500 belonged to the Indiana Fever at 189. She has made those 40-point games become her signature style. She scored 4 of them in her first season alone, creating a new record for the most games with 40 points by a rookie in the WNBA. The really bad news is this: it goes beyond the points alone. What matters is when she performs it. These aren't carefree, aimless games. No, when the chips are down, Clark's dropping 40 and then going out there and pulling off a performance that makes people pause and reconsider their decisions. One game at a time, Caitlin Clark is changing the record books in the WNBA. And after all of this, anyone who is still doubting her should go get their eyes checked.